Imagine finding out that your significant other has a side piece. Now imagine finding out that you're also the side piece. Little awkward, isn't it? I feel really sorry for the person that's the side piece to the side piece. Well, this is 2014's The Other Woman. Spoiler alert, while I might be giving you my opinion on the film, that's no substitute for watching it for yourself. Links to the film are in the description. And for those of you that need to hear this, this is just a movie. All stunts are for the sake of story and shouldn't be attempted on your own. Viewer discretion is advised. We start off with Carly coming home with Mark, and they're ready to get down to business. They're kissing on every bit of her apartment, but Carly stops him for a second. Mark assumes that it's because she wants to talk and get to know each other a little bit, but it's really just because her necklace got caught. After realizing this, they decide to get to know each other after they get to know each other. You know what I mean. If you've lasted this long on this channel, you definitely know what kind of movies we can get into sometimes. As time goes on, Mark and Carly get to know each other very well in all aspects of living, and she seems to be the happiest girl in the world. They even seem to move in together. At some point, Mark tries to go to meet her dad, but she wants to keep things private for now. We also find out that it's only been 8 weeks. Suddenly, we see Mark wake up next to Kate now. There's no warning here, by the way. He just wakes up next to her, and quite honestly, he looks more like a married man here. She's even talking to him about some nasty stuff while she's going to the bathroom. This is comfortable married life. When they go downstairs, we see that Mark is trying to get Kate to sign some papers, and she signs it without understanding any of it. He tells her that it's only accountant stuff, and she goes along with it. Meanwhile, Carly heads to her office where she checks in with her assistant, Lydia. Lydia decides to try and find out who Mark is, and she finds out that Carly cleared all of her previous guys to become official with Mark. Later that day, Kate calls Mark to tell him that she's going to come into the city to spend some time with him, but he frantically tells her that he'll just come back home instead. When Mark goes to pick up Carly after work, he tells her that he has to go back home to deal with a plumbing issue. Why is a plumbing issue a go-to excuse for something like this? They could pick anything else in the world, but they pick the one household issue that could be easily traceable? Genius. Carly isn't very happy with Mark, and she goes to meet with her father alone that night. After he tells her about the new young girl he's talking to, Carly tells him that she probably just broke up with Mark. He convinces her to go to Mark's house in Connecticut to spend some time with him, and sure enough, she does just that. This woman is dedicated to the act. She dresses up as a sexy plumber, and sure enough, Kate answers. It doesn't get much better than this. Actually, it does. Add damaged property and awkward walk home in a broken heel to the list. The next day, Lydia notices something's wrong, and when she finds out about Kate, she tells Carly that a married guy might be just what she needs. Carly isn't having it though, and she sticks to her guns. Just then, she gets a call that Kate is actually at the front waiting for her. When she meets her in the lobby, Kate asks if she's sleeping with Mark. After having a mini panic attack, Carly takes her to a bar to tell her everything she wants to know. Kate is definitely not happy about all the details, and she goes over all the things she gave up to let Mark do what he wanted. Carly tries to give Kate the cold hard facts about being a cheater, and Kate decides to get super drunk. Appropriate response. What's even better is how Carly tries to get drunk Kate into her car to drop her off. If you ever want to see drunken Olympic gymnastics, this is definitely your movie. The next day, Kate even shows up at Carly's job again. Carly does her best to make sure that she doesn't try and keep getting in touch, but Kate follows her home to try and have a conversation since she doesn't have any friends. Of course, by an hour or two, the two of them end up drinking bottles of tequila and vodka, and they're trying on outfits in Carly's closet. I get that Kate has no friends and Carly's the only one that knows what's going on, but there's no way I could talk to the other person like that. Kate is way too comfortable with her. There's no police being called or hospital trips either. Props to Kate. In the morning, Carly gets Kate a taxi, and she tells her to keep playing clueless around Mark. When Kate gets home, she goes berserk in the house, and she ends up calling Carly over. When Carly gets there, she sees that Kate's gone completely berserk in Mark's office, but they're interrupted when Kate's brother Phil arrives. Now that he's there, Kate decides to rush Carly out because she's starting to take a liking to him, and he's doing the same with her. Kate actually calls Carly greedy for wanting her husband and her brother. But what's she really gonna do with her brother? That evening, Mark comes home, and he finds that his office is being redecorated. Kate tries to cover up everything, but Mark sweeps her off her feet to celebrate a successful business trip to Miami. He takes her out that evening, and Kate is definitely conflicted now. So what does she do? Call Carly, of course. Who else would you call about your cheating husband? The mistress, of course. Kate tries to get some confirmation that she can sleep with Mark that night, but Carly keeps trying to point out that he's a terrible person. That's not enough for Kate, though. After hanging up on Carly, Mark and Kate head back home, and she gets freshened up over the course of what was probably 10 minutes. During that time, Mark gets a call from someone else he calls Baby. When Kate comes out, she finds that Mark's in the hallway talking about a weekend he has coming up with someone, and she remembers just who she's dealing with. When Mark heads back to the room, Kate gives him the cold shoulder. The next day, Kate keeps working on the office with Phil, and she gets a text from Carly that says she supports her. Phil starts talking about Carly and Kate breaks down immediately. Kate actually thinks that Carly is the woman that Mark was talking to the night before. Thanks to Phil, she goes to confront Carly, and what's their conclusion? They're both being cheated on now. But technically, Carly isn't even part of this anymore. They broke up and she was the side piece. What follows is an awesome spying montage where Carly and Kate follow Mark with Mission Impossible theme music playing. Once they get to their destination, they put on a show for the landscapers, and they're forced to retreat to Phil's house, which is conveniently located on a nearby beach. Later, they go to the beach to spy on Mark and his other girlfriend, but Kate is the only one that seems active in all this. That is, until she spots the mistress. When the second mistress is someone like Kate Upton, I guess it would be hard to look the other way. But he passed up on Leslie Mann in the first place. He's a fool. Leslie's the whole package. Kate and Carly don't even seem upset about it in the right way. After some back and forth, Carly decides to take things into her own hands. She chases Amber down the beach, but Kate tackles her like an NFL linebacker. After seeing the scuffle, Amber comes back to see what the commotion is, and the three of them sit down to explain everything. Amber proves to be a very sweet person, and she tells Kate that Mark told her that she cheated on him and divorced him. Hearing this lie makes Kate hate Mark even more. But they leave Amber to go back to Phil's. Once there, they open up to Phil about Amber, and they end up having Amber out that evening. While Kate and Amber get to know each other, Carly and Phil do just the same. As the drinking goes on, the three women end up having a blast by a fire on the beach. And in the morning, Carly wakes up to find herself in Phil's bed. Luckily for everyone, Phil made a straitjacket out of his own shirt and a fort of his own pillows. When she goes out to the kitchen, Kate opens up about how she wants to take Mark down, and Carly thinks that the three of them working together is a sure way to make that happen. When they go back to their lives, Kate messes with all of Mark's things, and a nice montage of hijinks goes on. Kate puts estrogen in his shakes and hair remover in his shampoo. Carly puts a laxative in his drink, which makes him crap himself at the restaurant. While this is hilarious and a nice start to revenge, I thought we were going bigger than all of this. I'm waiting for the whole heist moment here. Sure enough, Carly goes to meet her dad, and he mentions all sorts of ways that someone could hide their money if they really needed to. Now that she knows to look for offshore bank accounts, she goes to work and starts searching through a bunch of different files. Meanwhile, Amber takes Mark out, and she asks for a three-way. Mark is hesitant for a moment, but once Amber describes Dana, he gives in. When Mark meets Dana, she's more than he expected. Later, Mark goes to shower, and the effects of Kate's medication is definitely starting to kick in. Once the women meet up, Carly mentions that she thinks Mark is getting suspicious of her, and they decide to give him sex to quench his thirst. After a quick game of rock, paper, scissors, we find out that Amber wins. Obviously, Kate doesn't take this well, but who would? At least Carly is nice enough to come visit her that night. Little did she expect to find Kate in her wedding dress eating canned whipped cream. This is definitely acceptable though. I'd be even more of a mess than her in this situation. Surprise! Mark shows up home early, and Carly decides to hide under Kate's gown. Mark tells Kate that he canceled for the night, and he wants her to come with him to an investors' dinner this weekend. As soon as Mark walks out, Kate throws Carly out the window, and Carly crashes through the trellis. That weekend, Kate goes to the dinner with Mark, and they make their way back to the hotel to reminisce on old memories. When Kate goes to meet with the girls later, Carly and Amber try to tell her all the new things they found out. But Kate thinks that something shifted with her and Mark this weekend. Amber tries to be sympathetic, but Carly thinks that tough love is the way to prove that she's right. Kate walks out, and Amber follows suit. Later, Phil actually emails Carly, and the two of them meet up for dinner and drinks. She tries to explain what happened, but he assures her that everything will be okay. Back at Kate's home, Mark gives her even more reason to question him. He mentions signing more papers before he goes to the Bahamas. Now that Kate doesn't trust him again, she takes the papers to Carly, and she asks her to expose him. Carly apologizes because she wants to be done with Mark, and she says goodbye to Kate. After Kate leaves, Carly looks over the document still, and she has a change of heart. Kate goes to the Bahamas to try and find out what's going on, and she's surprised by Amber and Carly, who are already there waiting for her. Carly explains to Kate that Mark has used her to become the CEO of the made-up company he's using to steal money. Of course, she starts to panic, but Carly mentions that she has a plan for her to rob him blind. They find Mark at a pool in town, and they find out that he's got yet another mistress. Mark's gone international. That's mistress number 3. Why don't they just make a club? I feel like most clubs require 4 to be a group, and this girl makes 4. After following Mark to the hotel, the girls decide to have their own international fun, and they hit up a local party. While Kate goes dancing with a local, Amber opens up to Carly about an interesting man that she started talking to. Without knowing too much, Carly tells her to just go with it. In the morning, Kate has her freeing moment where she tosses her ring into the ocean, and Carly and Amber join her on the beach. Later, Carly drops Kate off at the bank, and we cut ahead to New York. Mark goes to Carly's office, and Lydia greets him in the lobby. Lydia leads him to the conference room where he's greeted by Carly, Kate, and Amber. He tries to leave, but Lydia's locked him in. This is it, the moment we've all been waiting for, and Nicki Minaj has locked him in. Get ready. Mark tries to appeal to Kate, but nothing he says is going to be good enough to change Kate's mind. Carly sets the record straight, and she serves him divorce papers where he finds out that they withdrew all the money from the accounts that he used Kate's signature for. He tries to tell them that he'll throw her under the bus, but it turns out that they pulled in his partner to explain the whole situation to him. He's going to work with Kate directly now, and that's the end of that. Mark loses his composure completely, breaks his nose, finds his accounts closed, crashes through a glass office, and has his car towed. Well, that's the end of Mark. Later, the 3 friends meet up for drinks, and they vow to never sleep with the same guy again. In the traditional happy ending fashion, Kate is now officially the CEO of her own companies, Carly's dating Phil, and Amber is dating Carly's father. Then the credits roll. When you've got a cast like Cameron Diaz and Leslie Mann, you can't go wrong. This is a great movie to prove that it can always be awkwardly worse. And hopefully you don't have to compare to this. Give it a shot. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more like this one. Comment what you think I should watch next, and I'll see you in the next video.